This is TechCrunch. Companies that have dug deep into AI have fallen in love with nuclear power for its promise of 24/7 electricity. Meta, Google, and Microsoft have all made deals with startups or reactor operators. But does the nuclear industry love AI back? Yes, with caveats. Bradley Fox, co founder and CEO of Nuclearn, told TechCrunch no one is proposing to let an AI run a reactor, but power companies are increasingly interested in the technology's potential to tighten things up on the business side. Fox and Gerald Vincent started Nuclearn to capitalize on that interest. Now, the company says its AI tools are being used in more than 65 nuclear reactors around the world. It recently raised a $10.5 million Series A round led by Blue Bear Capital, with participation from AZVC, Nucleation Capital, and SJF Ventures. Nuclearn got its start when the founders were working at the Palo Verde nuclear generating station just west of Phoenix. They had been experimenting with ways to streamline various repetitive tasks, first from a data science perspective, then with more advanced AI models. Soon, other reactors took note. Fox said that they would ask, "Can you help us do the same thing you're doing for Palo Verde, but for my plant?" That interest coincided with the COVID pandemic. Fox and Vincent said they were both kind of bored after work, and we were like, "Hey, let's work on a startup." Nuclearn has developed models trained on nuclear industry-specific terminology. The startup can train custom models for utilities and power providers that request it, and while its software runs in the cloud, it can also help reactors set up hardware on site if their security protocols require it. The startup's software can generate routine documentation that reactor employees then review and sign off on. Fox said that most AI in the industry now, the Nuclear Regulatory Commission considers it a tool. It's the same way as if you're going to use Excel or Mathematica or some type of engineering software. Liability always falls with a person. Reactor operators can set thresholds for how much gets automated depending on their level of comfort and their confidence in how well the model can tackle the problem. If the model doesn't know, or if we're unsure based on the setting you select, it will send it back to the right people and get a double check. We tell the customers, think of it as the junior employee. ReOrbit, a Finnish startup focused on helping nations control their own sovereign satellites, has raised a record 45 million euros, which equals around $53 million in a Series A round of funding for a European space tech company. The funding round signals that Europe's new space market is heating up, fueled by a geopolitical environment in which countries increasingly worry about relying on foreign technology for critical infrastructure. Founded in 2019 and based in Helsinki, ReOrbit provides both the hardware and the software needed for independent satellite operations. According to its CEO, Sethu Suvanam, the company offers a solution to nations that cannot build their own satellites, but want an affordable alternative to Elon Musk-owned Starlink. Unlike Starlink, which also targets private users and enterprises, ReOrbit wants its clients to have full ownership and sovereignty over their satellites and communications. Now, this means sourcing hardware from trusted sources and controlling it with ReOrbit's software layer. This software core, which Saveda Suvanam likens to Apple's iOS, can operate both ReOrbit's geostationary orbit satellite SiltaSat, which stays fixed above one point on Earth, and its low Earth orbit satellite that circles closer, and it's called UCOSat. Such flexibility is particularly critical for countries that recognize the accelerating role of space technology underpinning their defense, security, and critical infrastructure. Saveda Suvanam insists that the contracts that have been signed so far mean the startup did not need external funding, but it took the round anyway to accelerate growth. He wants ReOrbit to become a sales unicorn in the next 4 years. He said, "We're targeting €1 billion in order books." ReOrbit was actually aiming to raise €50 million in its Series A round organized by Springvest, a Finnish firm that organizes crowdsourced public offerings to qualified investors for private companies. While the startup did not reach the full target, the round was record-sized for Finland, which contributed to the round in several ways. Savita Suvanam told TechCrunch that the public share issue of €8 million, organized for Finnish private investors and family offices, was opened on June 16th and filled in just 4.5 hours, faster than any share issue ever arranged by Springvest. That converts to about $9.4 million. The remaining €37 million also had a strong Nordic flavor, coming from institutional investors, including previous backers Varma, Elo, Icebreaker VC, Expansion VC, 10x Founders, and Inventure. With competitors including Astronis and others, ReOrbit is shaped by the location it chose. Savita Suvanam was born in India but had spent 15 years in Sweden's space industry before deciding to relocate his newly created company to Finland. One key factor was a regulatory environment that had already proven favorable to Finland's ICEYE, which has been one of the most well-capitalized space startups outside of SpaceX. But the current tense geopolitics also play a role. Recent cuts to undersea cables in the Red Sea served as a reminder to other nations of the importance of satellite communications and imaging. Finland is not a country that wants to be a superpower, and this is very important because today a lot of nations are stuck between China and the U.S. When we talk to the highest authorities of these nations, they always say, "We are looking at Europe and the Nordics very keenly because this is a time where we want to find neutral partners." This is why it's so exciting to come from the Nordics if you're in this space. ReOrbit's next milestone will also come from Europe. The company is building a satellite for an in-orbit demonstration with the European Space Agency that it plans to launch in the second quarter of next year. That's it from TechCrunch. For more stories like these, go to TechCrunch.com.